So speaking of online multiplayer games, some news rocked the MOBA, that's Multiplayer Online Battle Arena, world these last couple days. Dawngate, EA's MOBA, which they had been pushing hard, and it was in beta, open beta, I think, got canceled. They pulled the plug on it. I know Matt is a pretty big MOBA player. He likes the League. I play a little bit of League myself and some Dota. Ethan's played some League, I think.
Yes. I was nodding.
Yes, Ethan was nodding, so everybody knows that he said yes.
Affirmative.
So, what are you guys' thoughts? See, to me, this is a sign, perhaps, and this is some wishful thinking here, that this might be the MOBA bubble bursting. Because there's a lot of MOBAs out there now. You know, Blizzard has their All-Stars, Heroes of the Storm. Obviously, League is the biggest one.
Well, Dota's pretty big, too.
Dota's pretty big.
Han was out there.
That's pretty much dead at this point, isn't it?
I don't know anybody that says they actively play.
Yeah, so there's Heroes of New Earth is Han. There's a DC one called, I think, Infinite Crisis maybe. There's just a ton of MOBAs, and there's more in the pipes. The guys who made Heroes of New Earth have a new one coming.
Yep.
There's something called Strife, I think I've seen. Smite.
No.
There's one for...
Smite's out, yep.
Yeah, there's one for like iPads and stuff. There's a touch MOBA.
That's gotta be gross.
It's a MOBA, and that's my problem with the genre is that there's little, and a lot of people said Dawngate, oh, this is innovative, and certainly there were some things that were different, but in the end, it's such a stagnant genre. There's so many games.
Is it stagnant?
I think so, and that's why I want it to start dying.
You think it's stagnant?
I do. I think it's stagnant. You don't, though.
But, dude, I mean, it doesn't matter, I guess, if you think it's stagnant, unless everybody else shares that opinion. I don't think it's, dying yet. I think we're hitting the top, though. We're getting pretty close to critical mass. It just depends. If Activision, Ubisoft, and EA release a MOBA, then we've hit critical mass, because then they're going to start pumping them out.
We've gotten pretty close.
I think that's why I say I think we're starting to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's hit yet. I think Dota and League are still going to go pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
And, truth be told, if when it does burst, those two will probably be the only ones that come out unscathed.
I would say the final, I don't know if this is the right expression, the shooter drop. I don't know if that's right, but Blizzard All-Stars, I think, will be the final big one to come out, and that will live, I think, because it's the force of Blizzard. They won't let anything like that die.
If they do that game right, then yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be the final one to come out and achieve some level of success, and it'll be remaining. The remainders, when the dust all settles, will be Dota, League, and Blizzard All-Stars. I keep calling it Blizzard All-Stars. I think the official name is Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, my limited experience with League, what I've seen is they seem to be okay with keeping it fairly simple. They just recently released a bunch of new game types, and I think they had a really good feedback from that. A lot of people really were so eager for something a little different that they all were playing that. Why do you think, though, that what is the shortcoming of this type of genre?
Well, it's the same problem I think Guitar Hero had. Well, not almost the Guitar Hero had in that Activision kind of killed itself. But this time it's being done by multiple parties, and that the music, the music peripheral genre, we'll call it, was outstanding. When it first came out, and it was really good. And then Rock Band 2 came out, and I think we're right around that stage where Rock Band 2 is getting ready to come out, and it's going to be, my opinion, it was the best of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Guitar Hero 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all this other stuff comes out, floods it. Nobody wants to play it anymore. It's been there, done that. Except for I don't know if that's going to happen this time, per se. In that I think it's going to take another game to boot it out of place. And I'm
okay.
Maybe not a whole other genre, but a new game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what that's going to be yet, because I don't see any games coming out maybe in the near future that's going to do that.
Right.
But it could happen. If we had a lot of them already, I would have said Smash Brothers, new Halo, maybe Destiny would have booted it, but I don't think that's what happened.
No. Here's my perspective on it. It's sort of a little more historical. I look at it the same way there's an MMO bubble that burst a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, there's a lot of parallels to draw between MMOs and the MOBA genre. And that's so the first game came out, not the first. Obviously, WoW's not the first MMO, but
The first big one, right?
WoW. The first big one was probably arguably Ultima Online or the original EverQuest was pretty big. But WoW was clearly like this huge money.
Yeah, it was the one that mainstreamed it.
Yeah, it mainstreamed. Thank you. Yes, it mainstreamed it, and it set benchmarks of like
Success.
this is a golden mountain.
Yep.
I got to go here. This is a gold mine, gold rush, right? And everybody came out with their MMO. And where I see the similarities are, I think for MOBA, obviously there's the original Dota, but League I think is the clear. The League is the WoW of MOBAs, I would say. In that they're the ones who really made the first big gold rush success, and everybody's rushing in. And the same problem I see with MOBAs as with MMOs, is that all the new guys they use, WoW as the base. They don't really do their own game design.
They don't
just
deviate
go
from the original.
Yeah, they go. Let's take WoW and we'll make it Star Wars.
Yep.
They theme it Star Wars and they throw it out there, and then it fails and they're surprised. Or they'll take WoW, now it's Warhammer, and throw it out there, it falls on its face. You had to have some kind of originality there. You can't just start with, WoW, because in the end, nobody's going to leave WoW. WoW has so much content. It's been refined for so long.
And why would you leave something you're already invested in?
Exactly.
You start all over.
You've invested real money into it. Yep. Plus, you just have characters. You've invested a lot of time into it, and in the end, there's just this droves and droves of content, hours and hours of content for you to sit through in that game if that's your thing. Whereas a new MMO, it's going to be short on content. It's going to have rough edges all over the place, and in the end, it's still just WoW. So why would you bother ever going to one of these new things and staying there for more than a month? Especially because with the content, you're going to use up all the content within that month. And slightly different situation with MOBAs, but I still think it's the core of the fact that they keep taking League as their set formula and barely deviating. Just the slightest deviations from it that's their biggest issue right now. And that's where I see the parallel of this bubble is growing. There's a ton of MOBAs coming and that are out there already, and some have started to fail. Thankfully, because I'm so sick of the genre, and yeah, I see it on its way out.
It's still got a little bit of time.
Still got a little bit of time.
One or two more years, I would say.
One or two of like just new stuff, like
no, I would say like years before something else replaces it.
So I don't see it as being replaced. I see it, because WoW stuck around. WoW is shrinking now, but, it stuck around for a while. And I think, League and Dota and maybe Heroes of the Storm are going to be here, are going to have some longevity.
Well, those ones will, but I'm saying, like, the fad itself will die out.
Yeah. And I think I don't know, there's so many. And I'm so sick of the genre. It's just, and I don't want to sound being, it's not that I think it's there's cool ideas. I just think there are flaws in the basic game design that could be fixed and could be made to be a much better game, but because nobody even tries to, that's what really bothers me about it. They all just take, hey, it's League, and even the heroes are usually the exact same in between. There's always the sniper guy. There's always, it bothers me so much. It bothers me endlessly. I don't know. Do you still play League, Ethan?
Very rarely. I bought Nami. I grinded until I bought Nami, and now I'm happy. And but it's a game where being online is important.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have to go out of my way a little bit. But I actually what I enjoyed about about League was I was actually impressed by the quality it is for being a free game. Like, I guess I wasn't as used to that. I never
played free.
Yeah. Oh, I never played WoW either, which I think you can start an account and do so much for free. And that's like, I'm a minimalist when it comes to things like that. And so I like the idea that, like exactly with Nami, I didn't start out with her, but I grinded for months. So got my win of the day every day, and then eventually was able to buy the champion I wanted. And as Matt points out, it's only kind of free. Like, if you can't really, if you're a serious WoW player, like, you can't, you spend some money.
Well, or you spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
Well, not really. I mean, if you want to have like an actual competitive selection of champions, the amount of time to grind out that many win of the days, or that many, like, not just win of the days, wins.
At that point, you hit skill versus champion. Sure, some champions can be better, but at the level we were playing at, spoiler alert, I'm silver. It's more about your personal skill than it is the champions, because you can take the worst champion in the game, which I think might be Urgot still, but you could still beat players at my skill level if you were a platinum player Urgot.
Sure. So, do you actively play League? Would you say?
I haven't recently. I made a big push to try to get to gold, and I got really discouraged in one of my ranked games. And people I was playing with went on vacation and stuff, so I stopped playing for a while. I just never got back into it. Destiny came out, and I wanted to play other stuff.
I've actually recently played it a few times, just because they changed the maps.
Yep, they did a reskin on everything recently. It looks really nice.
It does, and actually, from what I hear, performance-wise, I've never had a performance issue, and I think it's a game that scales really well across bad computers. But from what I understand, like, frame rates are much higher.
Yep.
Where they used to be struggling on worse computers.
It was a really, one of the goals was to improve quality while reducing performance intensity, I guess.
And
they accomplished that. I was really impressed.
And that's the type of thing that impresses me, is the fact that I've spent no money on this game, and to see this type of quality on whether you like this kind of system or not, the pay. What's that format called where you
pay to play? I don't think it's pay to play.
It's
like a microtransaction basically.
Yeah, microtransaction. Where it's optional to pay money.
Yeah.
Whether you like that or not, they're successful in doing it. I mean, they're producing good quality games.
I will say that you're probably in the minority of regular players, because
Yeah,
most people have put money into that game.
I have not put money into the game, although I don't play it regularly, so I guess it doesn't.
And also, I didn't. I've had no issues running it. Like, my machine has been perfectly fine doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's, if you're going to make a free game too, free.
You want it to be accessible to everyone.
Absolutely, yeah. Scalability's got to be huge. Dota, of course, is entirely free, which I keep telling people nobody cares.
Well, yeah, I think Dota.
The problem with that is that people are used to League, and then there's a higher difficulty curve coming into Dota.
The thing about Dota, I think, and Han was that I think both of those you could play on Linux machines, and that was like a big thing.
Oh, really?
From Linux. I mean, it's when I say big thing, I mean the handful of people who are trying to game on Linux are like, oh, I can play Dota and I can play Han.
Yeah, you got Han.
I'm not sure how far they've gotten. I know they were really, lots of pressure and lots of at least somewhat nods from Steam saying like it's important to us to get support on Linux. But I know for a long time when people were deciding like which game I want to play or invest my time and stuff in, that was part of it for them. It was like, oh, I can play this on Linux. And as far as free things come, like that's completely free. So
yeah, Dota is completely free because, as I've heard it explained, I don't even think they make much money. Maybe they do because there's so many players. But off like the shop, because you can buy hats and accessories and stuff.
Hats and
Valve loves hats, and frankly, I don't think even that's their big push for money on Dota. As I've heard it explained before, I think the big thing about Dota was getting people to play to have Steam. Because that's you're going to buy other things if you have Steam. Maybe buy other actual games.